Welcome to the Adventure Art Photography Podcast with CEO and founder John Adams. Adventure Art Photography will take you on an extraordinary experience to capture images in some of the most epic locations. They take care of all the tour details so you can simply show up and focus on your art. John joins us today for another inspiring conversation that will help take your photography to the next level. So John, let me get this right. You take people to the most amazing locations on earth and look after everything so they can simply show up and focus on their photography. It sounds like a dream job, a tough gig. How did you get there and what do you do on these adventures?
Yeah, look, it is pretty amazing actually. Sometimes I got to pinch myself. Yeah, well, it's a bit of a journey. Basically, I love photography and thought a lot of people would love to come with me and they were asking to. So we started expanding. So yeah, it is pretty good most days.
So take me back to the start. What really drove your love for photography and how did you get into this?
Basically, I've always loved photography from a very young age. And, you know, the film days when you really had to choose to take one photo a day because you couldn't afford to get more than the 24 a month done. So living on a farm, we had lots of opportunities. So I love taking photos. But really it took off when the digital camera came out and you could get instant feedback. I remember going to Papua New Guinea with my first digital SLR and obviously there's a lot of really good things to take photos of. Just had an absolute ball and thought, I think I need to learn a bit more about this.
So how do you learn and where did you learn the craft?
Yeah, good question. Like I guess for me, photography was self-learnt. I made lots of mistakes and I would just play and then learn and then I'd look up stuff when I needed to. I feel like that approach was a lot longer. I had a lot of pain points where it wasn't quite working and I had to work out why. But I think that research approach was how I learned. I think we can fast track that for other people so they don't have to go through every pain point. Certainly took a lot of bad shots, but I guess they become good memories for learning as well.
Interesting you mentioned pain points. What's one thing, thinking back now, you wish you'd had known when you were kind of learning?
Yeah, I think starting with the goal of what you want to take is really important. And, you know, sometimes we can just wander around and I think having a goal, even if it is just to take a good landscape photo or, you know what you're actually looking for. The other thing, I think just being able to understand the basics. There's some really simple composition tools that can really set people up. But if you don't know them, you don't know them. So you take lots of shots and then you look back on them and you don't know why you like them, but you like some of them and don't like other ones. So I think you can just fast track a lot of that by learning a few simple techniques.
Let's talk about adventure art photography. You mentioned growing up on a farm. Where did the idea for adventure art come from and how have you made it into a business?
I love adventure. Basically, I know a few mates and I used to just do this anyway. We'd just go, hey, what are you doing the weekend? Let's go down to the Fleurieu Peninsula, which is not just south of Adelaide, and take some photos. And sometimes we'd camp over and find caves and do like night photography and light painting, and just because we loved it. I found when I started working in a job where I was working with some really challenging situations and as a chaplain at a school and needing to get out and have something outside of work, which wasn't stressful. And I found Milky Way photography, lightning photography, just going out and having these amazing adventures was just so good for me. And a lot of people started asking me, they say, John, can I come out with you? And I'm going, well, it's, a lot of times it's spontaneous to start with, but, it was just a little tricky sometimes to plan that. But I found when people did come out, it really brought life to them. And I thought there's something about this adventure, like getting out and creating art, so that adventure art idea sort of was born. And I think there's one thing I've found that's I get more passionate about than just taking good photos. And that's seeing other people like get really excited about their photos as well. And sharing that joy and, doing it together. There's something really, really special about that. So it could become my aim to really, I guess, create the most amazing adventures in the world. And that's a big aim. So we're on the way there, hopefully.
So adventures, you organise trips, you book accommodation, you book flights, you find locations, you're scouting for is that what you do? Is that what an adventure art trip entails?
Yeah, a lot of people call these sort of things tours or workshops, and tours you can jump on a tour with like 50 other people and not even know who they are, and workshops are very much about, well, their name sort of suggests like we're just working on stuff and it's all very
bit clinical.
Yeah, clinical. So adventure is literally what we do, really is closer to the name. So we're changing, I guess, the way we talk about these things. But basically, you're right, it's all inclusive. So people, instead of booking and trying to work out and do all the research on, what time to get up, when's the sun coming up, is the Milky Way in the right spot, is the moon phase right for astro, what if the weather changes, is it safe? All these sort of things, transport and all that. They can just make one booking, one payment, and we can just make it the most amazing experience of their life. And that's certainly our goal to do that. So, yeah, we look after everything. We have only 8 people, 2 guides, trying to keep that ratio really great so that everybody can get the photos as well with the support on the tour as well, because that's important too. You don't want to be, in a great location and then miss out on the shot.
So what kind of changes do you see in the adventurers after they've joined an adventure? Or do you call them clients or adventurers? They sound like adventurers to me.
Yeah, well, that's actually a good name for them. We often call them guests because we feel like it's more than just a client, which seems a bit clinical, but adventurers, guests. The changes we see often when people pick up their camera for, say, an online course, say they may not even pick up their camera much, or if they do a one-day workshop, but it can be easily forgotten. But I feel like the learnings become really practical when you pick up your camera, say, every day for 5 days in the Flinders or for 9 days in New Zealand. You're picking up the camera and you're taking inspiring photos, you're learning, and it starts to become part of who you are. So you don't have to worry about all that technical stuff. You start to remember it more so than just picking it up and then putting it down for another month. So I feel like it fast tracks people's learning. Also, you're around a lot of other people when, we obviously bring a lot of learning, and we do quite often a Zoom before a adventure to give people the tools they need in a workshop, and we do training as we go. But it's also learning from each other. Like, you might have somebody on the tour who just loves the detail, like shots, and so you can be really inspired by them. I remember being at Remarkable Rocks on Kangaroo Island, this most amazing rock formation, and we're all taking these big landscapes and sunset, and we did some nice stuff there. But somebody got a photo of a praying mantis on the rock. I mean, I wouldn't have even seen it, but working with other people does help you see the world differently because you're working with other passionate photographers. And I think that community also becomes a really great resource after the tour. We have a chat, and some of our chats have gone on for years after the tour, where people are sharing photos and memories and ideas, and that's a big resource as well.
Let's talk about challenges. Can you think of a particularly challenging or perhaps a rewarding experience from one of the adventures? Well,
there's always a bit of a risk and reward when it comes to photography and that sense of adventure, and really nothing's guaranteed other than adventure. You don't really know what else is going to happen. Like, you make a plan to get up at a certain time and take a sunrise, and it's amazing when you're up how awesome it is, but you're taking that step. And so our job is to put people in the right spot. But anyway, to answer your question about a story, we just come back from amazing Tasmania. I know you know a lot about that area too. I woke up at 4 a.m. at Cradle Mountain and saw that there was this notification on my phone that there was a KP7, which, for those that don't know about auroras and that's right up there with one of the highest ones we'd had for a long time. And so I had this decision. My guests are all sleeping in rooms, and it's like, well, so what this challenge is, we've got this amazing aurora. I went outside, the night is clear. I'm like, what do I do? Like, do we let people sleep in and then they possibly miss the biggest aurora at Cradle Mountain on a clear night? Like, it's just, or do I knock on their door? And I was like, I just don't know. Like, so made that call to say, look, I'm going to give them the choice. And so, knocking on their doors and saying, hey, there's an aurora. If you want to get up, we're going to be leaving at 5 a.m., if you want to be on the bus. And so the crew got up and we just got down there and got the most amazing aurora. But there was that challenge of, like, you're working with people, you're wanting them to have a good experience, to not wake them up for no reason. And so there's these challenges of trying to make sure that we're giving them the best experience. And we also make sure, like, people get a lot of rest and downtime and good food and all that stuff as well. So I guess it is at a challenge, but, like, in the end, we just got like people were just saying it was some of the favourite shots they'd ever taken in their life, on a clear night at Cradle Mountain. And then we were gifted an amazing sunrise as well. it was just all come together, like just beautiful colours all round. So it was certainly worth getting up for. And there was another group there that were a photography group, and they decided not to get up. And, but then the guests will probably see photos and go, well, we missed out. So it is that challenge as a guide of like making sure we give people great opportunities, but also look after their well-being and have a great time as well.
It sounded amazing, the Aurora. I'd love to see some of the photos. So question, I'm an absolute novice. Probably this is one I'm asking for myself more than anything, but how can aspiring adventure photographers like myself embark on our own journey, not knowing much, to explore the wild and really kind of capture the moment with fantastic images? Where do you start?
It does start with getting outside your door. I mean, you can even pick up your phone and get outside and take some really good photos just because you're outside. I've got some friends that have got very basic camera gear or even phones that are consistently taking amazing photos because they're just there. Like if the sun rises, if you're out and you're capturing it, even with a basic camera or phone, you're way in front of the pro who's in bed. So getting out there, I think you learn so much too, because you're out taking photos and you go, you can learn so much and just enjoy. I think there's something about photography, the places it takes you, that is just as important as the photos, if that makes sense. You're out there watching the most amazing sunrise or the aurora or just like wildlife, and you're just enjoying it. So I think that's a big part of it, is actually connecting with that passion for nature and just getting out there with what you've got and starting from there.
John, great to hear about the Adventure Art story. Look forward to seeing more pics from the guests online.
Thanks again for your time, Abe. It's been fantastic.
Adventure Art Photography will take you on an extraordinary experience to capture images in some of the most epic locations. For more information on photography or their adventure tours, visit adventureartphotography.com.au. If you like this podcast, please follow and share with friends, and join us again for more inspiring conversations.